People who have signed NDAs that have now expired or, for whatever reason, are no longer valid. What couldn't you tell us but now can? I was a moderator for Gaia Online. This is the ban tree. For spam, low-level trolling, low-level flaming, and other light offenses, optional and formal warning, a warning with a 3-day ban, a warning with a 14-day ban, and a warning with a permanent ban. These steps can be modified by the moderator on a case-by-case basis. Typically, mods go with kindness, and it is entirely possible to never progress to the first 3-day ban. Your record is held against you for 6 months, but that doesn't mean it's deleted from your history. It is logged forever, and even after 6 months, it can still be used against you if a pattern is noticed. The more you do the same thing, the less kindness you will get. You can also find yourself going up the tree faster if you're found to be misbehaving on a mule, too. They will know. You can't hide. For inappropriate and general inappropriate content, you can have 2 things happen to you. A very strong warning or a very strong warning with a 14-day ban. Either or, the next step is a permanent ban. 2 exceptions are explicit avatars and names. Unless you've got a history, you'll get your avatar and name reset. You'll often just get a telling off after. Sexually explicit and explicit content is a straight permanent ban. All future accounts will be scrutinized, and even mild offenses will progress up the tree fast. You lose kindness when you do that kind of stuff. It is possible to be forgiven and forgotten if you show you're contributing. This takes 6 months to a year. Special mention, animal cruelty, and child neglect makes you persona non grata. You're not welcome back, period. All future accounts will be terminated on the spot. You may also find yourself reported to the authorities. The tree can be modified by the mods in the fly. It's encouraged to go light on people, especially to new users, who can rack up some impressive records before the gloves get taken off. Now to address rumors and misconceptions. Site mods cannot ban, only global and up can. Site mods have a say though. They request your ban and can even recommend lengths. Bans are not done by one mod. Bans are by committee. The site mod makes their request, pleads their case, and suggests the length. The banning mods then discuss this request. Then a judgment is made. Finally, one of the mods carries out the task. The requesting mod is notified of the results. Often the request is granted as requested, sometimes it's denied, and others are modified to make them kinder or harsher. Usually kinder. By default, most site mods already request the ban be kinder, unless the person has exhausted kindness. It's entirely possible to never go past 3 days for the same offense. Bans that don't require committee are for sexually explicit and explicit content. There are other offenses I didn't list off, but they are things you all should know will just result in a ban outright. An informal warning is still a warning. It's just one given when the mod doesn't want to get you kicked out of things like heaven or applying to be a mod. It will still factor into your punishment. Always assume the talking to you get from a mod is logged and will come up again. That said, sometimes a mod will just message you to cut your crap and won't log it. They will often tell you this. It'll be between you two and they will not tell anyone else. Mods get items, often the MC and a little bit of gold or whatever. Frankly, it was not worth crap. I'd often just not collect. Nothing is deleted, at all. Posts merely get hidden and threads are moved to a forum called Trash Bin. Trying to find it with a forum ID redirect trick will result in it declaring it a 404. It's there though, hiding under the MISC section. Guild posts are hidden, but threads are moved into a private guild. Oddly enough, this one is set outright in the guild RNG. It even says the guild name. The process of requesting an Omni look into a user for things like trade misuse was called Soylent Green. Oh, and only an Omni app can see things like trades. Private messages are private, even to an admin. In order to get into PMs, admin needed to log into an account. This is logged for even site mods to see. I've seen it used once, and even with my NDA expired, I don't dare risk saying why. I've used a few NPCs for events. Mods were often given leeway in deciding an NPC's personality. For example, the rules for the principal NPC everyone loved were created on the spot by 2 mods who were using it to vent at users. NPCs didn't have special items made. They had one item, their avatar. Their avatar is just one item, and if you brute force, you can find them on the marketplace. I rambled about something only 5 people will care about. Sir Lee Dean is the NPC I was thinking of. So mods have no tools for ZOMG. Nothing. Nada. You can act like a jerk and they can't kick you out. They can see the reports, but they can't stop you. Reports for Towns 1 are ignored. Mods don't go in there. Reports are easy to mess with in Towns 1 and can be trusted. The mods do have a tool to wipe names out, but it may be broken. There's a tool to monitor posts in real time, but no one really used it. The friends chat areas aren't private. Mods get a list of them and they can enter them at will. They're invisible by default. They can bypass the password for the room. They can kick you and delete the room. No refunds and gold used. These actions are logged. In Towns 2, mods can teleport to locations, go invisible, boot you. With Lightning, it also files a report with a chat log and send you to hell, which is a detention area you can't leave, even if you log out. This applies to all games made with the Towns 2 engine. There are tools for the other Flash areas, but they rarely work. Guilds are a pain, and rarely do mods go in there and handle reports. A guild is expected to do its own work moderating. The cinema, or whatever, where you could watch YouTube videos with friends, had my favorite tool. It showed you every room, so many pirated streams. We didn't really act on those unless we were given a copyright notice, so I'd use the tool to find one with a movie or show, just chill in there and goof off. The event where mods were overpowered sub-bosses was boring to some of us. Being able to wipe you with one go got old fast. Site mods and up can see IPs. They can also see every account ever that used that IP. Mods couldn't see guild posts for each user until around 2012 or so. Gaia sends us gifts every year for Christmas. My favorite was a personalized gift card and old-school Gaia swag. One time, an update to the shop scripts broke profile tools. The fix was simply to change the style sheet so the one element wasn't set to hidden. It took them a month to do it. For a long time, mods relied on a user script created by another mod named Leo. This lets them do things like go to the next page in the reports, among other things. ModDog was just broken. One dev gave his password to a fake admin account. We had a mod get banned because her husband was soliciting minors. She later got into a car accident, unrelated, but mentioning it because still with her husband. A trainee mod once pretended to be deceased. Fun saga to read. We used to do weekly or monthly calls to HQ, a team get-together. That is until some kid broke into the calls and ruined it for us. The title and location were to make sure people read it. Mods have a thread making fun of users who piss them off. It's obviously called the vent thread. There's also a thread for sharing bizarre reports and PMs. Mods have their own site feedback. There is a hidden IRC on Gaia. Mods can see where you are on the site in real time and go right to it. Forums, guilds, flash areas, it doesn't matter. Oddly, I don't think a lot of them know why they have this tool. Mods cannot post in announcements. I tried. I could move threads to it, which is how they actually work. The admin makes the post in an admin-only forum, bumps it when ready, and moves it into the announcement forum. PMs have a hidden list of contacts that only mods and up can use. @mods, @admin, and so on. Admin have @user. This lets you mass PM people in these groups. Some site mods have Omni tools. That is because mods actually work the help desk and they need those tools. They can't use them outside that job though. Devs cannot do mod work, they need mod training to do it. Very few do. Uncle Kenny was a baddie. I hated his wife. A mod account doesn't need to be someone's main account. You could also be an FA at the same time as being a mod. My main was a mod and my mule an FA. FA are basically a mod's pet. There is no secret goal gen. As mentioned above, you got very little reward. It was based on how much you worked and the economy. It was called Payday, the tool that paid you and it only gave you crap once a week. It was never worth it. I was poor the entire time. 99% of what a mod deals with is just edgy teenage BS. The rest is explicit content and gore. It is not glamorous. There exists a karma system. Every user gets a weighted score. If you have a good track record, it means you have a better score. The score goes down when you're given anything above an informal warning. The score determines how often you see couches, the rate at which you're allowed to post and PM, the amount and frequency of gold granted to you, and how much weight your report has, and so on. You see, your reports can actually delete posts and threads. The more weight you have, the more trust is given in your reporting. The thread deletion is hard to get, but post deletion is common. Mods still need to review the reports and the deletion can be overridden. Story 2. Did some work on the trading floor at Goldman Sachs. I had access to all trading accounts and transactions. Came across some shady-looking accounts which did not meet policy. It did not use clearly identifiable names, and I could not find records of creation or testing for it, etc. I asked my supervisor if I should look into this. He turned to me and said, "We don't ask about those accounts. Just ignore them. Orders from the top." Trading account creation is a long and detailed process that requires formal approval from multiple lines of management. These accounts circumvented all that and were basically anonymous with no trace. They were also trading high volume, and I was told to accept and ignore them. I wonder if the SEC has some kind of whistleblower reward program. If you think you may have actual evidence of the PPT, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Story 3. House Hunter is guest checking in. I never made the show because I didn't close on the house. Number 1, had to have a house under contract before going on the show. Number 2, they would select other houses we were interested in. Number 3, I was assigned another SO who was more interesting than my actual SO. Another one, I was a model for a few big name or well-known makeup companies. I did several print ads for magazines and a few television commercials. The makeup artists do use the product advertised, but minimally. Like that mascara they're touting, it's over really good fake eyelashes, and they also used another brand of mascara along with the one they're trying to sell you. Also, the clothes in the ads you see are pinned to high heaven of the model. They fit nothing like they look. It's not you. It's not your body. It's fake advertising. Most of us models look just like you wearing that crap without all the pins and tucks and double-sided tape. Story 4. A friend of mine got a job at a prominent local distillery that makes an extremely popular flavored whiskey. They literally buy whiskey from a third-party distillery and dump Tyranny flavoring syrup into it. Another friend of mine works for a company that does QC stuff in distilleries. Turns out almost every single fantasy you have of handcrafted spirits made with love in small batches is bogus. Rail tanker cars full of raw grain alcohol get distilled to raise the purity and blended with high fructose corn syrup and flavoring extracts. The stuff is blended in totes. 1 cubic meter plastic containers with a hand drill and a paint stirrer. Voila, high-end gin, sold for $90 per 26 ounces. You paid for the marketing, not the quality product. Yes, there are some exceptions, but this method of production of spirits is common for most lower-priced or generic variety spirits. It's also indistinguishable from doing it the hard way, in most cases, so plenty of high-end brands do it too. Same with the wine industry. There are huge bottling operations that sell to small wineries who slap any label you want in a bottle. Story 5. Amazon made me sign one where I worked with a company that painted their airplanes before the public knew they had them. I did the FAA paperwork. I was literally only one of like 7 people to see their airplane fully purple with their logo on it. I was actually taken off of the project for a day because they thought I lied about not having a Facebook. They meant business. Also, one of my friends' brothers was on the MTV show Room Raiders. Everything in the show is staged. All the items that they would find were planted. At the end of the show, the prize was not a date with that girl that he picked. He just got her phone number. Story 6. I signed an NDA once when I was an extra in Mortal Engines. If you watch the movie, you learn more than I did on set. I worked for a native casino. The golf courses lost a ton of money for us, as did the advertising for the courses. Food we generally broke even on because of all the comps. If a crime was committed by a dealer, they would watch the dealer for 3 months to see if there were accomplices. They used facial recognition and would pair match you, so if the same person sat with the same dealer over and over, they would know. This way they could look for accomplices. Then when they busted you, they would sit you down and make you watch a video of you breaking the law. They did this because they wanted you to plead guilty as opposed to an expensive trial. Another one, not me, but a guy I know, was on Cash Cab. A lot of it was faked. It was told he would be on a travel food show and would get picked by a fake taxi at a certain location at a certain time. There were camera crews all over outside the taxi, and there's no way on earth you might mistake it for a real cab. Anyone in the golf industry could tell you the first part is absolutely true, even though the golf course increases the value of everything else nearby. Such a weird duality. Story 7. I signed an NDA to become a waitress at a local family-owned restaurant. The owner was nuts, definitely had a severe personality disorder, and was worried about his recipes getting leaked. The restaurant is dead now, and his secret recipes consisted almost solely of frozen packaged food. Stop trying to guess what restaurant it is. You never will. There are millions of family-owned places with crazy bosses that go under. You don't know the place, and I'm not going to tell you. Also, Mr. Krabs pays his employees enough to own houses and pets. I wish I worked for him. Another one, I signed an NDA when I worked as a fit model for Katy Perry's shoe line. Basically, a fit model is used for their good proportions to test out the fit of garments. I'm a solid size 7.5, so hooray for being average. I was hired on 2 occasions and got to hang out and give her my opinion on the fit, feeling, and comfort of different shoes. Didn't think she'd actually be there, but both times she was present and totally running the show. Super nice woman in person, and remembered me when we met again. Also, she apologized for making me wait so long, which I thought was nice. It was a late-night meeting as she just wrapped shooting a music video. Her dog is really cute too, and I got to save it when it got stuck behind a wall panel. Story 8. The recycling company would throw away a lot of stuff. They collected money from government subsidies while leaving the employees with a crap salary in a hazardous workplace. R/OSHA would have freaked out. That included having dirty syringes. Thank God I didn't get jabbed by one, where people would sort the materials. It was awful. D&D 5e had a totally awesome online character builder that made character creation a breeze. It listed all of the possible skills, etc. per race and class that was intuitive and made theory crafting for characters easy. Personal conjecture, they canned it because it took away from the pen and paper aspect of the game, and they were afraid with an online tool it'd take away from book sales. Worked for a short time as a QA tester at EA, and wasn't allowed to talk about the game I was testing. The console port for The Sims 4. There wasn't really much to talk about, but since the first few versions were basically just running the PC version on a console, there were a lot of bugs with it. One of the worst was a lighting bug we started referring to as disco mode, since it caused a bunch of multicolored squares to show up on everything at night or in dark areas. Story 9. Worked at a matchmaking company. It's all BS, it's just throwing darts at a wall until someone sticks. There's no science or magic to it all. I didn't work for an internet matching company, so that may have a different process. What we did was get a paid client and set him up on dates. The dates we found were from a pool of women, and we would just keep picking one after another. I quit because I felt like the women were just being used, and I became comfortable profiting off of people's hopes. They very much play up on finding you true love, and it's a process, blah blah. They'll very much play up the fairy tale romance. It did change me. I don't really date anymore because I don't trust the true intentions of people anymore. I became very jaded to dating after all of that. Kraft Macaroni and Cheese are coming out with a more modern and upscale version to expand their market from lower-income folks to higher-income folks. It is almost entirely the same product as a 69-cent blue box, but will have a lighter, less orangey color. They'll be sold as shells and not macaroni. The box will be shaped differently and it will go for $2.50 or more. Stated to be released by 1995. Also, there's going to be a Capri Sun sports flavor in roughly 2003. I was a taste tester for Kraft Foods when I was 10. We didn't sign an NDA, but it was supposed to be a secret. I don't know, but I like it when the Kraft macaroni and cheese is more orange. Story 10. A certain global conferencing company still saves passwords for their web products in plain text. Any, and I mean any, employee that works there can see the password. My password there was not my password, you idiot, because they knew other people would see it eventually, and they'd even comment or laugh about it. Also, we once discovered that our main conferencing software was letting you sign in regardless of the password you entered, meaning you could sign in with any email address. Once we brought it up, we first were immediately stonewalled and told not to say anything about it in written format. So yeah, they had the dev team and legal on a conference call and they decided it was best to just keep it quiet until they fixed it later that day. No client was to be notified of the issue, and the ones that knew of it were basically given a runaround until they gave up. They also added call spoofing to the software. We called it something fancier, but it was called spoofing. You could make a call and make it appear from any number you wanted. My team raised this concern many times, but were countered with, no one will actually use it for that. Okay, that place was a goldmine of security risks. Story 11. Sony got hacked over that North Korea movie because of a 5-year-old account they didn't delete or monitor from an ex-employee. Mini Cooper or BMW replaced our car because the high-pressure fuel pump failed 6 times within 6 months. However, the recorded reason for the replacement of the car was because of stained interior from dirty mechanic hands, so it wasn't replaced via the lemon law. I was a contractor for the US military. I also translated Marvel comic books. Marvel had tighter security. Google doesn't hire direct support employees. They open small projects in the US, hire up to 250 contract employees of varying support positions for the project. Once they get the stats needed to run everything efficiently, they have mass layoffs and outsource their jobs to a country, Philippines or India, that's willing to accept much less than their US counterpart. At the same time, Google rakes in a huge tax cut because they're creating jobs in the local communities. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you made it this far, I'm sure you'll also enjoy people who have quit on the spot. What happened? Story 4 was crazy. See you in that video.